You've been lounging with Skipper. You've been lounging with Skipper. Oh, yeah.
Yo. I want to welcome you all to another episode of Loungin with Skip. I don't know what episode this is. I believe it's episode 18. No, it's episode 19.
19?
Yeah, I want to thank you all for tuning in and listening, and and for those that are just tuning in to this podcast, I pretty much interview people that are on their journey to success in the entertainment industry. That might be anything pertaining to entertainment, whether that's being an actor, a musician, a writer, a director, and even an adult film entertainer.
Yes.
This brother right here I'm sitting with, I met him maybe about 6 months ago. No, like almost close to a year.
Yeah.
Up on a year.
Mm-hmm.
And he had told me that he was in the adult film business, and I really don't watch. I watch porn.
Come on, man.
I watch porn, but I'm not like how I was back in the day where I caught up with like, oh yeah, that's so and so and that's so and so. So
right.
I just look at certain things and then I'm off to the next.
Gotcha.
Know what I'm saying? Versus back when I was younger, I knew like names and everything.
Right.
So he told me, what I'm saying. I said, man, so what's your name? And he said, I go by DREDD. So I'm sitting here with the infamous, the legend, the man himself.
Yes.
On the way to becoming a legend.
On the way.
In the entertainment, in the adult film entertainment industry. I'm sitting here with DREDD.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you for showing up, man.
Hey, man, it's a pleasure to be here, bro. You know it is, man.
Yeah.
No doubt about that, man. Once you put this idea to me, man, I said it's a no-brainer. Let's get together and let's do it to it.
Yeah, and I appreciate you showing up.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get into your beginnings. Where you from?
New York.
You from New York?
From New York.
What part?
Born and raised in the Bronx.
Boogie Down Bronx.
Boogie Down Bronx, man. It's funny because I tell people, you mention the Bronx to some people and they automatically think you're coming from the slums, the South Bronx and whatnot. But I was more northern end where it was decent, and was there for maybe about 12 years, and then moved out to Long Island.
Okay.
I don't know how familiar you are with it up there, but Long Island is more suburbia. Mm-hmm. And from there, I was in Long Island for a couple of years, and then made the trek down to Florida somewhere in the late 80s.
So you were born in New York, the Bronx.
Yes.
Graduated from high school.
Correct.
Okay. And then from there, that's when you moved to, after you graduated from high school. Did you go to college?
Went to college for a little bit.
What school did you go to?
I did. I went the community college route,
okay.
And then gradually did some. I think it was Nova Southeastern in this is Florida in Broward County. But
what made you go down to Florida?
Man, you know what? That was like the thing. That was the thing to do. Which is still the thing to do for a lot of New Yorkers, man. You get tired of the cold. You get tired of all the congestion and things of that nature, man. And you just kind of like migrate down south. And so that's what my parents did. And I was still at a point where wasn't quite ready to do my own thing. So it was like I was just following their path, man, and that's how I ended up in Florida.
Okay. So how was you liking it when you moved down there?
Nah, man, I was not digging Florida, man, all that much. Because I was just, still at that age where I was enjoying, the friends I made up there, and you kind of looked at as an outsider, man. Down south. And, you know, me being from up north and just talking the way I talk, I remember, man, that was always problematic for me, man. You know, I was always getting involved in, you know, this, that, and whatever, man, just for that simple fact. But
they were like, oh man, you talking like you from yo, what's up, son?
Oh yeah. I used to get that all the time, man, and it was just like, you know, I wanted to fit in, but it just, you know, those were some difficult times, man. You know, the early years in Florida, but you know, eventually I kind of, you know, adjusted to it and actually ended up staying there for quite some time.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So. You didn't finish college. You just
didn't finish.
Nah. And then what you end up doing after?
Man, you know what? Got out of that and just one odd job to the next. Basically, you know, nothing of substance. Just, you know, jobs just to try to, you know, make ends meet. And that was pretty much it, man. You know, everything ranging from, you know, customer service, you know, in you know, stores and retail and
sales. Was you doing sales?
Yeah. I was doing some of the sales stuff, man. You know, music stores, just a wide variety of different things, man. So, and that was all taking place in Florida. So,
okay. So we're gonna backtrack.
Okay.
You know, growing up, you know, as a young boy, you know, we start looking at the women. And,
right.
You know, we start looking like, damn, she looks good.
Right.
Around when for you, where, you know, you was like, damn, she looked good. When you start basically looking at women like,
you know, man, that's an interesting question because I remember it well. The age of 7, and me, older brother, older sister, we somehow ended up on this expedition, okay? In our parents' room. Our parents weren't around, and I think one of my older sisters was watching us, and she was busy watching TV or talking to a boyfriend or something like that, and we gained access into our parents' room, and I remember that excitement, man, of like, wow, you know.
Stumbled across some magazines.
Well, you know where I'm going. You already know where I'm going. Yeah. So, you know, my sister said, well, I'm going to go to the left, and my brother said, I'm going to the right.
But what triggered that? What triggered that?
I think just the excitement of getting in their room unsupervised. Okay. We were like, you know, like set free. It was like we didn't know what we were looking for. There was nothing. You know, we didn't have anything planned. There was no game plan. The plan was just to
be nosy.
Be nosy, you know. And I went straight, and while my sister was looking at whatever, and my brother was looking at whatever, I went under the bed, and there's the shoebox. And, you know, I pulled the shoebox out. Again, the
infamous shoebox.
The infamous shoebox, man. And this thing was like, you know, light was radiating out of this box. So it was like, something's good in there. Yeah. And, you know, I uncovered it, and there it was, you know.
What'd you see?
Oh, man. I saw, my father was in it deep, man. He was in it deep, brother. He wasn't no playboy and hustler, you know. This was foreign titles, man. You know, you know, things that, you know, my young mind really couldn't comprehend, but I was drawn to it.
Yeah.
You know, even at that young age, man, and it was something that was just, you know, instilled in me.
That's how it was for me, man. I think it was like age 12. Well, it started around like age 11, and it was a kid in the neighborhood, and we would all go over his house, and he had found these magazines in his dad's house, in his dad's room.
Right.
And his dad be going to work, and it was just him and his dad living in the house.
Gotcha.
So he would be like, so we would go over his house because he found these magazines. And I remember going in there, and we were looking in the magazines, and I remember for the first time, like, seeing, like, you know, like, damn, like this chick's pussy.
Right.
And I'm like, what? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, and I was like 11, damn near 12 years. I was like 6th grade.
Wow.
And, you know, it kind of changed my mind, my head space, because I was, you know, when that moment I immediately went from a little kid to a young boy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Got you.
And so it's like at that moment, everybody who would go over his house to look at these magazines, we all now were going to our own homes,
right,
and going through our own parents' individual, our own parents' stuff,
right,
trying to see what we could find.
Yeah.
And then one particular day, I said, I'm gonna look around here, and I happened to go into the closet, and
damn.
And back then I was real short, so I had to stand up on something, and I saw this shoebox in my parents' closet. I pulled that shoebox down, and boom, there it all was, man. Damn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it kind of made me look at like, damn, I'm like, damn, does my mom know about this?
Wow.
You know what I mean? And kind of going back to what you were saying, as far as you looked up under the bed and found the shoebox. So obviously your mom knew about it.
She knew about it.
You know what I mean?
She knew about it. She knew, what kind of a freak my father was. But just to answer it, that was where it started, and it didn't. It hasn't stopped, to this day. But even at that young age, as I was getting older, I found myself getting more and more deeper and wanting to see more and more things, and that kind of was the segue into my first memories of porn.
Now, for your first time looking at porn, who do you remember? Like as far as
well, okay, I got an answer for you on that one. I couldn't tell you what the title of this was, but I will never forget it because it was a friend of mine from across the street, and he somehow had access to it was like it was the old school on the reel-to-reel.
Wow.
Yeah, man. And
a reel-to-reel porn.
Yes.
Wow.
So it's going back. And I remember he had it hooked up, and his older brother was kind of, facilitating the whole thing. And I'll never forget, it was Ron Jeremy. Ron Jeremy, and he was just waylaying this one chick on this stack of tires, man. I'll never forget it.
On a stack of
tires. And this chick, the legs spread open, and she was, almost sinking in the middle of the tires. And he was just, doing his thing. And I remember I just kept wanting to keep rewinding that and going back. You know what I mean? I was like infatuated with it, man. So that was my...
With just the fact that he's smashing her even in the midst of her falling in between these tires. There was no mercy on the fact that she's falling, and also the fact that she's cool with the fact that he's smashing her while she's falling in between these tires.
Yeah, I mean, there were all those things going on, and it was just this whole. It was an introduction into this world of like, look at what these people are doing, and we can see it, and it's there for everybody to see. And that had always fascinated me. And this was probably maybe around like 11 years old, 10 years old, and I was strung from right there, man. That was it. And then I just got more in depth, and
more in depth.
I got more straight up. I got more in depth, man. Guys like John Leslie, and women like Seika, and of course Vanessa Del Rio.
Oh man, Vanessa Del Rio.
Everybody loved
that. Was the first porn that I seen.
Vanessa Del Rio, huh?
Viva. It was called Viva.
Oh yes.
Vanessa.
Wow.
It was called Viva Vanessa.
Goddamn.
I remember the music because I'm a music guy.
Right.
I remember the music was like Viva Vanessa.
Right. Oh my God.
And she was just like.
You just took me back right
there.
Yeah,
and then I remember thinking like, damn, she has no fucking mercy. Like she's just, what I mean, sucking and just getting.
She
fucked.
got down, man.
And I'm just like, wow.
She got down.
My thing was, at that age, it showed me that being an adult in a sexual way, it's no mercy. It's no limit to the limitations that this can be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus as a kid, you coming up and you're like, oh, well, I don't want to do that because that's not right. or I don't want to do this because that doesn't seem cool to do.
Gotcha.
It was like when I saw that, it was like it was no limitations. Just seeing her just getting nut shot on her face.
Right.
It was just like, what?
Yeah, we didn't.
I was blown away.
We didn't go the normal route of there was no birds and bees.
I never had that conversation. I never had the conversation
birds and bees
with my dad. He never.
Yeah.
It was sink or swim.
Yeah, right. It really was like 101 for me. And the fact that I handled it the way I did, man. I mean, I was, constantly walking around, with a heart on and shit.
For real?
Well, oh yeah. Well, like a lot of kids, that age, man. Hey, that age, man.
Yeah.
You're discovering shit, and it all just came together for me.
It's crazy. I remember it was a girl like in 5th grade that she would come to school, and she, I guess at that age, girls weren't really wearing bras. But I remember she had like this shirt.
Wow.
And it was like it was like she had no bra on. But I remember she would be in class and she would lift her shirt up while she was doing stuff. And you could see right through the shirt up underneath and see like her nipple.
Damn.
And then I was in 5th grade. And I was like, damn.
Right.
So that leads me to, when did you lose your virginity? When did that experience come about your way?
Well, you know what? It was. God damn, I was like literally ready to explode, man, because I was fantasizing about teachers.
Wow.
And these wasn't hot teachers, man. These was normal, women just trying to educate kids, and I'm having these really fucked up thoughts, sexual thoughts, but nothing deranged, but so I was ready. I just couldn't get the chance because I was really, at that time in my life, man, I was more on the nerdy side, man. Okay. I was in the comic books heavily and pro wrestling and I wasn't doing the cool things. So that led to me
masturbating.
A lot.
Okay.
And that's just a fact.
Yeah.
So I was always waiting for that opportunity. So to answer the question, I wish I could sit here and say I was 13, 14. Right. But it was more like
I was a late bloomer.
Okay.
I was a late bloomer.
So
how old was you when you was late? How old was
you? We're talking 16 or 17.
Okay. Yeah,
which
I was a little bit later.
Okay. Yeah. See, I mean, 16, 17 is not too bad, but I remember it well, and of course I didn't tell her. I told her I was playing it like I was an experienced dude, and this wasn't my first soiree, but in my mind it wasn't, because I had replayed it over and over again so many times. She was like, man, you're good. I was like, I know, but
and this was 16.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, 16, maybe 17. I want to say 16 to be safe with it, but she it was a good experience, man, and it just more, in my mind made me say, man, I really like this, man. I'd like to do this, forever, So that's really when it started, and things just really, I wish I could sit here and say, man, after that, the roller coaster began, but it really didn't.
It just became what it was.
It just became what it was.
And when whatever chick presented herself and was whatever, then you went with it and did continue doing what you were doing. Being down in Florida, you're getting older now.
Right.
Obviously, at this point, you're running across different, chicks that you're cool with and kicking it with, whatever, you're having sex and everything. Did it ever get to a point for you where you were like, man, I'm really laying this shit down? Like, did it ever get to that point for you to where you're like, to where you knew within yourself that you weren't lackluster?
Well, you know what, man? I think like a lot of guys who were, now as I'm getting older and more guys are, the watching porn thing. So a lot of guys had that so-called expertise, man. And I didn't think I was doing anything different than the next guy. In fact, I didn't, I just figured it was the norm, I'd have, if I had a shot getting lucky. I would really try to seize the opportunity, man. So that was pretty much, things were still normal at that stage. I didn't think I was doing anything differently.
When did you realize that you were doing something different?
I realized when, well, you know what? I'll put it to you this way. As I'm going on and I'm growing up, and porn was always there, okay? It was always at the front. It wasn't in the back of my mind. It was always at the front of my mind.
It was always at the front of your mind.
It was always there. It was always a situation of, if I ever had the chance to do this, man, the more I saw it, the more I wanted to do it. But the reality was, which is what I'm sure the reality is for a lot of performers, man, in the industry, is when does that opportunity come up? How does it come up? Back then, it wasn't, things weren't as accessible as now. And back in those days, shit. How do you do it? You got to know the right people. And these are things that I was always thinking, man, am I ever going to run into somebody?
Right, because you're down in Florida, and you're living your normal life of just going to work.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't see it as much as I wanted it to become a reality, man. I didn't think it would happen. So I was just really going through the motions there, man. In life, man. Working, trying to make ends meet. Just like the next man.
And so, you being at the time, okay, so you were in a relationship.
Yes.
And you know what I'm saying, now, you're laying it down to her. She's
right.
Like, okay, so everything was boom.
Right.
At this point in life, you're like, okay, I know fully I'm smashing. This is my woman. I love her. She's loving this.
Loved it.
Blah, 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 blah. Where did it change for you where you said, something, I need to expand on this journey or this, maybe I need to expand. Maybe I need to I know you love this dick, but
right.
I could
I need to share this thing. I need to spread this thing.
Right. I
need to spread it around.
When did that thought come into your head?
Okay. I'll put it to you this way. Because we were on and off. Yeah, it was one of those relationships that was on and off. And
I'm trying to turn that AC off. You see, I'm trying to get warm up in there.
That's cool. I'm good. Okay. I'm good. Okay. So when we were off, those were the opportunities and now we're talking like I'm in my 20s, man. And now I'm saying, okay, I could spread this thing. And I was just starting to, be with different women, man. And each experience was, like better than the next. And
really?
I was loving it, man.
So each experience was better than the next?
Each experience was better than the next, man. I always looked at, every time I had the chance with a different girl, as like an adventure, man.
Wow.
To try things differently. That's how I knew my mind was. Because most of my other friends was just, I had just hit that shit, man. I smashed it good. And I'm like, well, what did you do? How did you do it? You know what I mean? And I just smashed it. And I'm like, okay. Whereas I was like trying to really get my freak on, man.
Really?
I'm trying, yes. I was really trying. Yes.
So you was really basically like, I'm gonna basically I'm gonna take this girl for a ride. I want her to really enjoy herself.
Yes.
You know what? My thing has always been that when Biggie said, she came first, I came last, pass the grass. Like sometimes us as men, we basically, we think about ourselves and coming first.
Right.
And then the girl. Mm-hmm. But I realize a lot of women complain when the guy comes first and they don't come at all. Now, if we as men focus on the women coming first, then now we can come. It's like opening the door for the woman, let her walk through.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like now you're in a position where you focusing on the woman, making sure that she's satisfied, and then you get yours.
That was always my MO, man, and it remains that way to this day. Whether on set, and I'm working, My thing is always to make sure who I'm working with is good. At least that's what I try to do, man. I've never had to, get me off or my pleasure comes first, man. I always looked at it, and maybe that's just the chivalry in me, man, the gentleman in me. I know a lot of guys aren't like that, but I know there's some that are, and that's always been my thing from back then, even up to now. But to go back to what you had said,
when you got that point when you got the one to share, to spread it, I guess, expand.
Yeah, right. That was when. It's hard to jump to that without first telling you about my first go around in the industry. But I really was spreading it, and I really kind of, got a lot of confidence when I got involved in the lifestyle swinging. And
so you were involved. So you and your woman?
No, she wasn't involved.
Okay.
We weren't together at the time. And see, so that was the whole thing.
Just down in Florida.
Correct.
Okay.
And I had just
now, what is that like, man? Like, so you walking into a party, a swingers party. There's men there with their women, with their wives, with their girls, their girlfriends, and they're swinging.
Right.
Now the guys are opening their women up to have sex with other men.
Yes.
In front of them. Okay.
Oh yes, but for me, that started with a girl who I was seeing. Who she mentioned it to me. Have you ever been involved? And I said no. And I was like, well, what's that all about? Well, like you just said, it's couples, and and I said, couples, you lost me with that. I'm not down with that. I'm a one-on-one kind of guy.
Right.
And she was like, there's some really attractive women from various places of the world, man. International shit that I think you'd really enjoy, and I know they would enjoy you. And I kind of, went back and forth with it, and then I finally said, you know what, I'll give it a shot. And it was a slow process, but before I really get into that, what's critical is telling you about my first go-around in the industry.
Okay.
Because that took place before that. And really quick, with that, that basically was... like I was talking about, having the right connection, knowing the right people. We're going to go to about 2009, maybe, and just listening to satellite radio, regular job, and it was, it's
a regular job.
Working a regular job, got the satellite radio playing,
okay,
and I hear. This discussion going on my man Howard Stern show, and he's talking to some dude about they're looking for this new guy, new character in porn to you could do this, you could do that, you get with all these chicks, and if you think you have what it takes, it was like a search for the new Blackzilla, okay, who this guy, man, really solid guy.
Blackzilla?
Blackzilla was the name. The guy's name is Shane Diesel. Good, solid guy.
Okay.
And he made this Blackzilla guy.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, he was gone. And they're trying to find a new guy. And basically, it was like, if you think you have what it takes, we're looking for a guy who's really well endowed, more than the average. If you think you got what it takes, send us, a couple pictures, whatever. And I'm just sitting there, doing data entry, and I'm listening to this, and I said, man, God damn it, this is it. This is opportunity. I said, this is opportunity knocking on the door, man.
Okay.
I said, hold up. I went to the bathroom, man, and came in with my little old school cell phone, and chubbed it up, took a few pictures. Fuck it, let me see what happens. And I think I heard back from them the next day.
The next day.
Yeah. And it was like, you're the guy. And I said, wait a minute.
you sent it to who?
It's Howard Stern show. No, yeah, Howard Stern was talking to I can't remember the guy's name now, but he was the guy saying, basically giving the details of what they're looking for. A guy who's well endowed. I mean, nobody's like this guy, Shane. He's a big dude, and he's like a monster when it comes to, having sex. And I wasn't that familiar with him.
So when did you know that you were? When did you know that you was a monster?
A monster.
When did you know that? When did you know that in your life?
You know something, man? I really didn't. Until it wasn't confirmed until this guy called me the following day and said, "You're the guy." I knew I was bigger than average. I knew that, but I didn't know.
I mean, but when did you know that? When did you know? When did you come across that and be like,
that I was bigger than average?
Yeah. When did you know that?
You know what? Just girls that I started seeing, man. Once my shit would the reveal. Once it would come out, goddamn.
Their response.
Absolutely.
Right.
Oh, shit.
Right.
I'd like to meet your father.
Right.
You know what I mean? Shit. So that
it was like, okay, yeah.
So I'm like, I'm feeling good about myself, And then the confirmation was when this guy called me up and he said, yeah. So I was like really taken back by that because I was like, oh shit, there's so many things going through my head, man. I'm like, this is the opportunity I've been waiting for, this is it. I've always waited for this, man.
So you've been waiting for this.
Waiting for this moment, man. Like a fighter, man, in training, you know what I mean? Waiting for that big match, man.
Really?
Oh yeah, man. I was ready. Well, I thought I was ready.
Okay.
Until I flew out to LA and really struggled, man. Really struggled.
Now, what year was this?
This was around 2009, maybe end of 2008. But it wasn't what I thought. What I would see, the thing that I was so in love with, watching, was a little bit more involved, man.
So what was the first thing that you filmed when you came?
Okay, first scene, I believe it was with a girl named, and I know a lot of the fans. Hopefully, I tried to put a little tweet out, to some fans saying, hey, check this out, and maybe some would know this. But I'm gonna say the first scene when I flew out there was with a girl named
Out here.
Out there, like I'm still in Florida. Out here was a girl named Kira King.
Okay.
And she had been around for a little bit. I don't think that long, but she was very understanding of the situation. That this was my first, go around. So I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, how was it?
It was great. In my mind, I was like, man, I want to really, I want to light this thing up, man.
Now, did you peep her and study her before you?
I did.
Came out?
Once I knew, I tried to do a little research, and she was hot. She was definitely hot, and I was like, man, this. In my mind at the time, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be good. But that was like easier said than done. I got a first-hand take on just how difficult it could be.
How so?
Well, when you got a crew there, and I remember when I got to the house, I thought, this is how naive I was. I thought it was just going to be me, her, and somebody with a camera. And I'm pulling up, and I'm seeing 7 cars out front, and I'm like, that's the house? He was like, yeah, don't worry about it, man. I said, oh, shit. So it was really...
Well, because of it being the 7 cars, like the people that
there were people, there were things going on.
Like lighting. And...
Right, exactly. Lighting, and then I think there was another shoot going on, and it was just so much...
So with stuff going on in another room, you're in this room focusing on this, but you're hearing that up in there. So your mind was trying to get in tune with what was going on in front of you.
Was trying.
Right.
And it's just one of those things, man, where it could be tough. And I learned that firsthand right there and then that it wasn't as easy as I thought it was.
So what happened?
I struggled. And I was out there for the weekend, and I think I did like three scenes, and it was
one
just
day?
No way. Nah, I've never been that dude, man, to do multiples. And I know there are guys that do it who I got a lot of respect for, man, because that shit's not easy.
Yeah, no.
At least for me, it's not.
3 different chicks.
Yeah. But
Feeling?
I think some guys do it. I don't know about 3, but I'm pretty sure like 2, maybe one in the morning and one at night, whatever. But I know for me, it was hard, man, and I was like, okay, I'm glad I got a chance to experience this, but I'm gonna leave this to the pros. I'm gonna just stick with going back to doing my thing. But what ended up happening was I struggled, and we did a few more things, and it was really nothing. I don't want to say it was nothing.
Was she cool?
She was cool. All the girls were really cool, and I I guess the scenes were okay. I wish it would have been better in my mind.
Can your fans see those scenes? Find those scenes?
They can see them. They can see them, and they're around.
Scenes?
They are, I think it's Hush Pass. That was who I was with, and I think they still have some of those old scenes, man, and where I was struggling. But some people, I've gotten a lot of, hey, those scenes were great. So if some people see them as being great or good or whatever, man, I appreciate that. But in my mind, I really was just trying to figure it out at that time. And so what happened was it just fell by the wayside, man, and I felt like, okay, this is just not working. And went back to doing my regular job with my tail between my legs because I was like, man, forget this job, man. I'm moving on.
So you went back to Florida, continue working.
Yes.
Now, at this particular time, you were in a relationship still?
In and out. There was a weird dynamic, man. But at this time, I was.
So you got back in there and got focused and was like, you know what? Maybe that was just something I was on. I'm gonna continue on my life,
right,
and live.
I lived out the fantasy, and it was.
Tried it out.
Tried it out.
That's one thing, folks. If you have something that it is that you want to do, that you want to achieve, that you want to attain, do that. At least give it a shot, see what happens.
Definitely.
You never know. You can succeed, but you may fail. But if you do fail, at least you have an opportunity to try again.
That's right.
Okay? So never take away the strengths that you do have in life.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. You never know till you try, man.
Exactly.
And,
so you went back home to Florida.
Went back with my tail between my legs. I wasn't becoming the next Lexington Steele. He was an idol of mine, man. Love him, man. He had a heavy imprint on my whole thing with porn. It got even more deeper when I started seeing some of his stuff and just how he handled himself.
So it made you go back after experiencing that. It made you go back looking at at porn.
I was still looking
and seeing.
Yeah.
Like, damn, you already know what these guys are on. You already know what it.
Right.
The camera crew, everything, and they're still performing.
Nothing but respect for him, man,
Gotcha.
because it's hard, man. It's not easy, man. It is not.
And I know a lot of guys out there are like, oh man, I can do that.
Oh yeah, of course.
But when you get those cameras rolling, you get everything is really on you.
Yeah, no, man.
The woman can lay there and pussy can be wet. If you're not able to get up and perform, it's all on you.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? The girls, man. I'm not gonna say they got it easy, man, because it's a performance thing. Whether for girls or guys, yeah, I think guys, they gotta.
So it's a performance thing. So the women perform.
Yeah, the women perform, man.
So it's not really real.
No, it's real. It's real. But when I say perform, I mean just by their overall take on the scene, man. High energy, giving it their all. Like let's get a good scene going, and I love that. You know what I mean? That's I think that's like a key. That's like a key thing. So I don't want to say it's all on the guys, but I just know for me, those times when I was struggling, man, and it's funny, man, 'cause you're sitting there and you're trying to rise to the occasion. and I'm looking
Right.
for a little help.
Right, and you're looking around, and
Looking around in the middle of the ocean,
and the cameraman's looking at you like,
man,
or the light guy, or the boom
had my
guy.
share. I've had.
You're like, man.
Had my right. Had my share, man. It wasn't easy, and
so you went back home. Did all that.
Right.
And around what year was this?
Well, this was probably like around 2000. We'll go to like 2010, because that was when. Now we jump back into the whole lifestyle thing, because after, what that did was, it actually got me some exposure, man. So I had somewhat of a name, It was from those few things that I did out, at that time with those guys. It was a good amount of exposure, man. So as I went into this lifestyle chapter, it only helped my cause, because it was like, oh wow, aren't you the guy? So yeah, that's me. And I was really enjoying it. And what happened was, because I was involved in that for years.
Okay, in the swinger lifestyle.
In the lifestyle.
So, what's the most wildest thing that have you ever had where a married man come to you and says, I want you to fuck my wife?
Many times.
Wow.
Many times. So many times I couldn't even put a number on it.
Really?
That's common.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
A married man, a married couple.
With his precious wife, who he's sworn to love and cherish till death do him part. I want you to fuck her brains out.
And what does he do?
Well, I mean, you know what? It
He's just sitting there like jacking off, just watching.
Some guys go that route. Some guys go that the voyeuristic route, and
just
will sit there and just watch, observe. And I dig it. I could see that.
And she's just getting fucked.
She's getting waylaid.
That's just.
Yeah. Right. That's it.
That's some wild shit.
But see, here was the thing. I had learned that the lifestyle was really more of a couples thing, where you'll have a couple and they want to explore in their sexuality, so they start dabbling in exchange swapping and seeing if that's for them. And for me as a single guy was really just kind of like the bottom line is, man, a single guy is just he's there to help out. You know what I mean? If he's there to either join in or he's there to pleasure whoever's wife or girlfriend, and be respectful and basically just show her a good time, and at the same time you're having a good time and he's having a good time.
So afterwards, after you done banging his girl out or his wife in front of him, and he's just like, thank you.
He's like, man, that was great. He's like, I'm not kidding.
And how is she?
Well, I was, as I went on, as it moved on, and I got more confident, and I, became this, this guy who was just known. It was like word of mouth. So she was usually, satisfied, man, to say the least. And that was like always my thing. Like I was, saying before, my thing was always to take care of, and I think maybe, a lot of that really took off too when I was doing that, because of that whole dynamic of, you're coming in as this, I don't want to say part, but really that's what you are, in a situation like that. They're letting you into their world. This guy's letting you have at it with his wife or his girlfriend. So you're really just there to kind of assist. But with me,
I guess what is it that they would walk away from that? Like, okay, you go your separate way, they're going there. Like, what are you walking away? What is he walking away? What is she walking away with? To where the next day they're back, hey babe, I love you.
Well, but see, that's the thing. There's a firm understanding in place, man. The swinging isn't for everybody, That's number one. And it's really for people who have that understanding that, you know what, I'm all right with you getting your sexual pleasure from someone else, whether it be male or female. I'm all right with that, because at the end of the night, when it's all said and done, you're mine. You're coming home with me. We're going home together. And I know it may seem a little weird to comprehend that, but some people just have that understanding, man. And I got respect for that. And I remember at first I was a little taken back by it, probably the same way you're taken back by it a little bit. I was kind of like, wow, man, how does that happen, man? Oh shit, I could never do that. But when you see the pleasure, and I can't stress it enough, man, the pleasure that, people get, if there's a guy who, reach out to me and say, man, she's dying to have a good time. She hasn't had this experience before. I think it would be great. I just want to sit back and watch it. I may join in. I used to get that. I may join in, and, help her out, whatever, help her relax, whatever the case. But it was pleasure, man. And it was genuine. And so I rolled with that. I became, like, again, it was word of mouth. I see this guy, this guy.
DREDD. Was it DREDD then?
It was DREDD then. Yeah, it was DREDD at the time. And he's a good guy, again, the similarities with the lifestyle and porn was performance, And my performance, just in my mind, I've had people tell me about those early scenes, man. I like them. My mind, I'm always like, it could have been better. But as I, as things moved on into the lifestyle, I just started to gain this confidence, man, that I didn't have from a sexual standpoint. And now I'm feeling real good about myself. And now I'm just like, I'm making moves, man. I'm actually going here. I'm in New York. I'm in Chicago. Couples are flying me out.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
It got to the point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Flying out and just going buck wild.
To just basically smash.
To smash, yeah. But really...
But because of who you are.
It became like, that. It kind of became that.
We want to fly him out.
Yeah, it kind of became that through word of mouth.
So you became you became your own brand.
I did. I made my mark, man. I made my mark in South Florida. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And I don't say that out of ego or anything like that, man. It is what it is. Things just really took off. And I was just like, wow. The people were coming in from all over, different parts of the world, man. Whether it's Italy, France. No, I don't want to say to see me, but I was in Miami, and Miami, of course, is a spot that a lot of people want to go to and visit, and tourists go there.
Gotcha.
So it would be, we're coming to Miami to have fun in the sun and kick it, and we'd also like to see you. We're not coming out there just for you, but we'd like to work something out where we can see you.
Really?
Absolutely, man. I used to love that, man. There's parts of those days I still, flashbacks, man. I'm like, oh shit. So to answer, I think where you were going with what was the wildest, I mean, I never really did the, they have like swing clubs, man. I know in Florida, there were two that were really popular that I knew of that I never really went to. And people would go, man, I saw you at Trapeze. Trapeze was one, and the other one was a place called Miami Velvet. Man, I saw you at Trapeze, man. You were destroying that lady. And I said, it wasn't me. I've never been there. So, it was somebody else. But I never did the clubs, man, so I never really saw how, things went down there. But my thing was more the thing of, meet out, a nice social setting, whether it's at a restaurant, bar, you interact, you mingle, you make sure. That's always the
first interview.
The first interview, right. It's never, and I would really... every now and then you would get, hey, we're in room 232. I'm going to have her tied up. You walk right in and there she is. Blindfolded. Okay? So I was like, yeah, I never really, because I was really caught up in the whole dynamic of meeting and the flirting, and you get to see her and she's dressed, and I'm got all these perverted thoughts going through my head. I'm like, man, this is gonna be a great night. I missed those. See, just talking about it, I'm getting excited.
And the guy himself,
he's loving it.
Wow.
He's loving it, man. He's watching what's transpiring, and he's getting off on it. You know, absolutely. He's like,
and I guess he's getting off it because he's going home with her, because no matter what, this is his woman and he's going home with her. But my thing is, what if she's like, not saying that she would want to leave him to go to you, but
right?
What if she wanted to leave him after that? You know what I mean?
Well, I'm sure that something like that has happened, man. But you know, I'm pretty sure something like that has happened at some point or another, man. But you know, I think that comes with just that couple not being ready. You got to be ready to do that. You got to be ready. You can't go into that tiptoeing or like, you know, you got to be ready. That trust has to be there, man. That, you know, it's about, you know, the sexual aspect of it. And it ends there, you know, as far as like any emotional stuff, you know, afterwards, man. Again, it's got to be ingrained in that mind, man. And I've come across so many couples that have that understanding, and it's never been an issue, you know, for them, you know. And they just like, whether she sees him, you know, a lot of the women get off seeing their men having their way with other women, and so it's not just a, you know, one-way street. But you know, I know for me, man, most of my meetings were, you know, I'd meet them, you know, be presentable, respectful, and I'm the whole time in my head, I'm like, God damn, this is gonna be good. And it was always that genuine excitement. But what it did for me more than anything was it gave me that confidence I didn't have when I was, you know, my first go around in porn.
What was the first threesome you had?
Lifestyle days, that's for sure. That was maybe in a party type setting where the parties, man, were... now, I could tell you some stuff about the parties, because I have been to parties. The club stuff I didn't do. Mm-hmm. But I've been to numerous parties, man, where I'm in the bedroom and maybe there's another guy, and we're both... He's with one girl, I'm with another girl, and then there's like a line, man, you know, and this girl's riding me and I'm having fun, and they would walk up and it's a line, and you know, hey man, she's next, no problem.
If a line of another girl?
A line of couples coming in, I'm in the room, and there's another guy who's, you know, on the other side of the bed, and he's with some girl, but the line is, you know, it's like my line. He's got his, whatever he's doing, but I got my line. And so one leaves, then the other one comes on, and she leaves, then in 10 minutes, here's another one. I've done that numerous times, man. Then, you know, stop, let me take a break. Okay, I'll be right back. You know, time out. You know, let me get some water. You know what I mean? Go downstairs, freshen up, come back. Let's go again. I swear to you, and that's no fabrication whatsoever. But those are that's like typical, man. That's really not that.
And these are the guys that are with their woman, like, hey, is she cool? Can she go
absolutely? I remember specifically, man, Miami parties, man, and come up and hey, she's next. You know, excuse me, but you know, we've been waiting. You know, so, and I love that, man. I mean, that really was just like, again, going back.
So you built a following. Your following really started to build even from that. You built your brand as a following. Yeah. Now you're able to be on the screen doing it. Or those people that remembered you from that, they're watching you now.
Totally. And it all worked in my favor. It all like... you know, really helped. Not that I really needed it.
You thought about that. You didn't think about that at the time, but now it's kind of playing in your favor.
Absolutely, yeah. No,
it was working in your favor.
No doubt, man. I mean, you know, people, you know, hey, Dredd's here. You know, he's upstairs. You know, and you know, that was all cool. I love that. You know, I absolutely love that, man. But it was those were good days, man. And let me try to think.
And what led it back to where you started getting back into the business, into the industry?
The porn. Okay. So what happens is I'm doing that, and through the lifestyle, I meet this girl who, I doubt she's listening, but I owe it all to this girl. and you know, she was somebody who I started to see, and we were seeing each other, and it just became a thing of her wanting to do more stuff and you know, go out and stuff. And basically, I would just go there and we would hang out and just, you know, fuck our brains out. And it just started to take on a new life with me and her, and things didn't work out. And it's a shame because she was really cool and I really dug her, man. But what did
why wouldn't she listen to this?
Because it didn't end on the best note. You know, she's somebody I really would have liked to still be in touch with, because she's the one who's responsible for me really sitting here right now talking to you. It was from her pushing me to say, look, you got to get back, you know, on the horse with this adult industry porn stuff. You got to do it. And I was like, nah, you know, that ship sailed. I did it. She's like, I know you did it, but you got to get back out there. You know, it's there. You could do it. You know, look at you. You're doing all this shit and you're doing it for free. Why not get paid? You know? Which she had a great point, but I was just like, nah, I'm having fun. You know, but meanwhile I'm struggling financially. You know, I'm having fun, but I'm broke. You know what I mean? so I was like,
that's never a good thing.
It's not a good thing, man.
It's good for the moment.
It's hard to have fun and be broke, but you know, I managed to do it, and then I think it just ran its course. And then the next thing you know, she said, "Look, let me just," because she was into the webcamming. That was her thing, and she was very active on social media. Which
what name was
she? You know, she was into the whole dominatrix stuff, man. She would, like, you know, guys would call her up, and she would tell them they're a piece of shit, and, you know, fuck you, and they would pay her. You know, they'd pay her money, and she was living, you know, doing really well for herself with that. And so, if anybody knew how the game worked, because I wasn't involved in social media at all. I didn't know about Twitter. I didn't know about anything. And she knew, and she said, look, let me just start you up a Twitter page, and let's see what happens.
So she started up your Twitter page.
She did it. She started it, man. And there's not much that I changed. That same Twitter page, it all goes to her, man. If she didn't do it, I wouldn't be sitting here, and this whole...
Do you have a Facebook page?
I got a Facebook Instagram with page? Just like, but not anything pertaining
as
to...
As far as DREDD.
No, DREDD doesn't have a Facebook.
She did that. She did the start of the Twitter page.
She